Hello, hello. This is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and we are ending eating disorders using nothing but your brain. And we are ending the struggle with yo-yo dieting and binge eating and bulimia and like just the overeating and the food obsession and the body hate and all of the stuff that takes away our real life and energy and us being able to thrive because of something like food. And it is incredible to see just all of the fun and amazing people. I really feel like the coolest people in the world get eating disorders or struggles with food because we have such an awesome community. But what really counts, like you guys hear me talk about, our mission to free people of any of the struggles that they have, and you can have full and complete freedom. But what really matters is it actually happening and the real people and the over 1,000 people that are now free. And I'm super excited to celebrate one of our incredible grads and to celebrate her story and who she is. And I'm so excited to introduce our amazing Sarah. Welcome.
Hi.
Oh, it's so fun to have you here. And Sarah, it's just so fun to celebrate you. You've come so far. You just had amazing things happen. So why don't you just start out telling us just a little bit about you, Sarah, just tell us who you are as a person, and then we'll launch into your amazing story. But just tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a mother. I work with food. I'm a salesperson, but love life, love my friends, love my family. And that's kind of the struggle with food, because a lot of that time that revolves around food. So, but now I'm here and I'm focusing on them and that, and the food's not an issue anymore. So I'm just so happy.
So awesome. Love it. And the thing is, we have such great lives. There's so much to appreciate and there's so much to love and there's so many great people. And then it's oh, and then there's this thing with food, right? So tell us a little bit, how did things start for you? When did you sort of first start noticing that you were having a struggle come up, or how was that manifesting? How was it interrupting your life? Tell us a little bit about sort of the earliest times where you could see the food was an issue.
Yeah. So, from the time I was 17, I think was when I went on my first diet. 17, I was in high school. I think there were little issues before that, but I didn't know. I was young, maybe a little overweight as a child, but now I'm looking back, that's kind of a normal thing. I also had friends that were really skinny, and I'm just not gonna ever be the skinny person. So maybe that started it. And then sneaking food as a child a little bit, but really in high school, I started my first Atkins diet. Okay, doing Atkins at low carb. I was melting cheese and putting it in the microwave and eating cheese and tomatoes, and bacon and eggs. And that was it. And it's 17, you don't need to be doing that in high school. I even remember they had a big blood donation, and I donated blood, and I was like, I can't eat those cookies. I can't eat those snacks. And then I ended up fainting in the hallway because I couldn't eat the snacks because they had carbs in them. So, that's, that's young, right?
Yeah.
Lost weight and then gained it again. And then in senior year, I started Weight Watchers, had great results. And it's just been a mad chaos of yo-yo dieting from then. And that was almost a little over 17 years, it was a little over 20 years ago. So, but from there, it just developed yo-yo diet, weight gain, and then food obsession. And then ultimately, my struggle for 20 years has been bulimia. On and off, not constant, but every diet lends this hope, this weight loss, this hope it's going to be better, and this is the one that's going to work. And that restriction just straight goes back into binge eating, feeling bad, food compulsion, and then bulimia. So much of the struggle. So now I'm a mother, and I've done therapy multiple times as well to kind of figure it out, thinking maybe there's some underlying conditions. Therapy, traditional therapy, hypnotherapy a few times, just so many things, because I knew it was something I didn't want to continue to have in my life. But it always crept back. No matter how many times there was hope of something working. I've tried every diet, low carb, Herbalife shakes, Weight Watchers, Whole30. I know that's not supposed to be that, whatever, but there's always hope. And then it ends up just being, and then you end up gaining weight back. And there was one point where I was just like, oh my gosh, this is my highest weight. It's so crazy. And then as years gone by, the highest weight just kept on creeping up. And it was always body. It was body, not body acceptance led into food obsession, into this yo-yo crazy cycle. And then towards the end, it was the end before now, when I say the end, because it's gone, which is so exciting. Towards the end, it was just, I was doing another thing, and it was just food obsession on my mind all the time, where I'd be researching, what am I going to eat? And it was, tracking everything and weighing everything. And then I started realizing, this is ridiculous. I am having to sit here and I have 2 children running around in the kitchen. I'm spending an extra 20 minutes weighing my food or cooking something separate. I'm not even paying attention to them because I'm too busy tracking in my app and weighing out my food, that I'm just like, it can't be. And yeah, that worked. I lost weight, but then the issues started creeping back in. Was doing therapy at the same time. And I was like, this is great. It's the end. And then as soon as the things started creeping back in, my therapist was like, she was not a food therapist. She wasn't there for food issues. She was more for just personal. And she's like, I can't help you with that. You need to go find something else, because I'm not trained in that. And that kind of broke my heart, because I'm like, you're supposed to fix me, And I'm supposed to fix myself ultimately, but that's how I stumbled upon your program. But just the years of just looking back, it's kind of gross, of the things I had done to myself, from the overeating and the bulimia perspective, and the lengths I would go to get food, and the lengths I would go to hide it.
Yeah.
From friends and family. And there were a few times I did tell my family, like, hey, I've got this problem, but they always would just be like, just stop. I mean, and they were very sensitive about it, but they're like, just stop. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to just stop.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people listening to this probably understand that internal thing that just drives you. And as much as you don't want it there, it's there, and it is dark. So those were cries for help a few times from family, but no one really knew what to do. No one's experienced that. I have people in my family, and I think also growing up, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit.
This is
growing
great.
up. I've seen multiple family members dealing with weight issues and dieting. And that probably was also just from the start of childhood, like seeing people constantly on a diet and worrying about their weight. That was probably stuck in my brain, that if you're not losing weight, then you're not good enough.
And Sarah, that's such an important thing to bring up. So I just want to highlight a few things here, because your story is so beautiful and impactful. And thank you for sharing it and being willing to be open and to, help others through your story. Yeah. It's such a beautiful thing. And I want to just point out, think of, going on a diet at 17, and, so many people start even earlier, right? This is something that is literally just, we feel this, from the time that we can talk, right? Of just that always trying to be thinner is the way to be a good human, especially a good woman, right?
Yeah.
And just the morality of even the care of I just gave blood, I need to raise my blood sugar, right? There's a cookie right there. There's some orange juice, whatever, to have that morality just so early on, and then just continually reinforced. And that's a huge piece of it. The morality around thin at any cost, keep on going to another diet, just so much life that it takes up, and it takes up more and more and more life, because not just the dieting, it's the food obsession all the time. It's the emotions that come along with all of it. And that people just don't understand that pull, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't experienced it, it's you were fully committed to fixing the problem. It wasn't something that you wanted in your life. It's something it's dangerous. It's, can be lethal, all of these things, but again, it's still there. And so thank you so much for sharing really that journey. So let me ask you, Sarah, what would you say, as it continued to take up more and more life, as you could see, wow, this is taking me away from the things that are most important to me. what is happening? Who am I? Like, why is this so much of my life? What would you say were some of like your hardest or your darkest moments of really waking up to how much it was impacting you?
Oh boy. I think the hardest, the darkest moments were definitely the hiding. There'd be times when, I hope I'm answering this correctly, where I would be driving home from somewhere and I would stop at fast food, eat it on the way home, and then have to make up some excuse to go to the bathroom, to get rid of it. And then still come out and like, oh, let me make dinner, and then still have to like live my life as a normal person and still eat dinner. Scary, right? And then just, it's like, so, and just, I don't know. I think that's the darkest, but that was not always, but that was a common occurrence. And I hope that was answering that question.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, what was it for you? Right. Because, for all of us, it's different. We have different, values, and we have different things that, just get to us more than others,
Yeah.
And there are so many things that are painful about this, and the hiding and the having to pretend, right? It's like the thing that, puts your life in danger, could stop your heart, to be doing that, and then having that compulsion around it, and then putting on a smile and being there with your family, where if it was one of your kids that did that, you would be terrified. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, like that is such a hard thing, on our hearts to know how dangerous it is, but then not feel like we had control to do it. And like, I also want to just really celebrate you, Sarah, in continuing to keep on looking for the solution, right? Even something heartbreaking, like somebody who you were hoping that could help you, for them to tell you like, hey, you need to go and find somebody who can help you, right? Like,
yeah,
for you to not give up and be like, okay, then I'm going to go find somebody that can, like, actually knows how to fix this. And it gets harder and harder to keep hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, there are people I know that, 20 plus years, that's so much life, 40 plus years, a lot of women that we help, it's been, twice that long too. Like, it gets harder and harder to keep hope. And I always just celebrate that you chose to have the strength to keep on looking, even when there was just that crash of emotion and, just that hardness after every diet. It's not an easy. Yeah.
And another part of that was having the kids home. And when I was alone, they'd be playing and I would kind of be eating. That's terrible, because that time should be spent with them. I shouldn't be in the kitchen making food, kind of watching. I'm like, they're right there, but that's not the same as being there, sitting down and playing. And through this program, my husband's left on his thing, and there's been, every time I've just spent with them, there's been no time in the kitchen and eating. And in that, like, that was hard for me too. And I'm just like, is this going to be my life? Am I going to be ignoring my kids because food's too important? And I think I heard someone else say this or read it along the way. I didn't want to have girls. I have 2 boys. I did not want girls. I was deathly afraid of having girls because I did not want them to deal with what I've dealt with. And I did not want this to be something that was, I know it's not hereditary, but, and even for them, my boys, I don't want them to see me as someone that's like, mommy can't eat that, mommy can't do that. So just being free of that and actually having the time back to spend with them and be interactive with them and really present is worth its weight in gold, this program. So
it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And to, like, those things that you can't get back, like the time with your kids, and, as they get older, like, to be able to feel in full integrity with that is such a beautiful thing. And I can understand just how hard that is. Like, I remember, Sarah, there were many times, but times where like, it was special time where like my daughter and I could be together, right? Like, it was just the 2 of us, and I remember just putting her in front of a movie and going to the other side of the house and just being there with a jar of peanut butter, just terrified at like, why was I doing this? And it's like, there's part of you that like knows, at least for me, there was part of me that like really knew how fiercely I loved my daughter. And then there was part of me that was just so confused at, if that was the case, then why on earth would I do this? Like there was just this really painful dissonance in that. And yeah, what a beautiful thing to get back as well, like having that time. So, talking about this, 20 plus year struggle, like what that was really like the hiding, like all the difficult things. Is there anything else that you want to share about what it was like to be in that struggle that is an important part of like your story and where you've come from that is on your heart to share?
So I think obviously these issues start because of your non-acceptance of your body. And no matter how much I dieted, my skinniest and how much I was hurting myself. So every time I was dieting, there was no bulimia issues. It was really like diet, so hardcore, so on it. So I actually got to my skinniest and it still was not traditionally skinny. I was busting my butt to get to that weight. And it was still not what society would even call skinny. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's what I'm like, a big, huge part of this is just like, it doesn't matter what your body looks like, as long as you're treating yourself with respect. I think that's like the most important thing, is the respect for your body. I don't care what I look like if I'm not doing that to my body. I can be 200 more pounds, but it's not going to happen because I am respecting myself. But I'm not going to strive for being a size 2. I will never be a size 2. I don't even think if I died in my skeleton would be a size 2. Okay. So stop thinking that that's the goal, because even no matter how hard you work, you're probably not going to get there because your body is your body.
Sarah, this is so beautiful and so important. And I just want to like emphasize how good you can now feel about your body, because you're owning reality, right? You're like, this is my body. Like I can hurt myself for 20 more years and still there's no level of like acceptability for our bodies in a society that teaches us that nothing is good enough, right? It's like, there is nothing you can do. And for those who haven't taken this journey to freedom yet and who are, in the struggle, I want to clarify a few things, which is really important as well. That the way that Sarah can really like feel and declare and feel ownership and peace in her own body is about being free on the other side. And that is the same thing as health. So a lot of times we have this idea of like, oh, well, am I going to sacrifice my health and just be fine being totally unhealthy? Or am I going to, like, there's this, well, am I going to be free or I'm going to be healthy? And it's the same thing. Because when you are respecting your body, when you feel at peace with your body, when you're not doing dangerous things to try to manipulate your body does a great job of like having a metabolism and maintaining your most healthy set point weight and like really showing up in all these amazing ways that when we're constantly in this yo-yo of starving ourselves and then going, with the binging, the purging, all the stuff, like our body like has to pay attention to that. Like if you cut off your hand and you have a headache, your body's not going to pay attention to the headache. It's going to be like, we're bleeding real bad and we're very injured, right? So when you are constantly fighting this cycle with food, your body's not going to be like, oh, how do we optimize health? How do we help this person's cardiovascular health be better? How do we build more muscle? Like, how do we have a better metabolism? Your body can't pay attention to any of that because it's like, there's a famine every Monday. This is a really big deal. And so it's not just the freedom, it's all of the health that naturally, with flow and ease and no effort, because it's your body's job to do all these things.
I don't have to think about it.
Exactly. Can spring forth when you actually get the disordered eating and the cycle and the stress out of the way. And that's such a big deal because restriction teaches our bodies to be bigger. Like dieting teaches our bodies to gain weight. And so the longer we fight in that cycle, it gets us the opposite of what we were hoping for. So I just wanted to really celebrate, Sarah, that like for you to just own, like, you know what, like I get to respect my body. I get to like see it show up in health. I get to like be at peace in my own self. That's amazing. That's beautiful. That's a good life.
It is good life. It feels good. It feels good to not be worrying about what I'm eating. I don't worry about it. I'm eating what I want. I'm eating what I want, but my body's not overeating it because I am satisfied. I'm giving it what I want. I'm satisfying my brain, so there's no compulsion to just overeat or I mean, I'm having pizza, I'm having pasta, but I'm not gorging myself. I'm eating normal amounts. My clothes still fit. It's been how many weeks since I've been through this program? I didn't gain 500 pounds, like I'm the same because I'm not doing those actions of binging and filling myself in those short periods of time. It's just normal. And it feels so good to not have to like, how many calories are in this? And is this going to be okay for me?
Yeah. Oh,
Free of that is amazing.
Oh, so amazing. Just like that mental energy back and the physical energy and being able to like just enjoy and like eat what other people are eating. Like it's all just like so fun. So fun.
Thing.
So
not to be like, sorry,
yeah.
I can't eat at that restaurant because there's refined oils because I'm doing the like I can't eat that because there's this in it. Ugh. I don't want to be that annoying person anymore.
And Sarah, I'm so excited to celebrate with you. So you've come so far, so many years of struggle. And let's talk about freedom. Let's talk about on the other side of this struggle, what are some of the things that you are really enjoying most about your freedom? And how would you like to describe your freedom? Like what is different for you now? What can you do that you couldn't before? Tell us a little bit about like life on the other side of this struggle.
The life is amazing. I think the biggest thing is the voice in my head, the chatter, like that darkness that told me to eat is like not here anymore. Because it was this overwhelming thing of just like, I can't stop it. Oh my God, it's not even here. Like, it's amazing because I would have compulsion and just be like, let's come back to the kitchen. It's not, it's gone. There's so much, like you were saying before, like there's so much space in my brain to do other things and to spend time with my family and to enjoy other things. It's been so long since I do love food. I love to cook. I'm a pretty decent cook. So I still enjoy those things, but it's now because I want to do it and I'm not having to worry about all the little pieces to it, like the calories and the macros and the protein and everything. It's just so nice to just cook and just feel free to eat it. And it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful place to be. And I literally thought I would never be here. I thought, I'm not quite 40 yet, and I'll be 40 in a few years, but I'm like, I can't go the rest of my life. I can't be 60, 70 years old doing this. And when's it inappropriate anymore to be going to the bathroom and throwing up? Like, there has to be some point in your life when that's not appropriate. So, but apparently what I've learned from this and just being in this community that I'm not alone. Something like this is very, very, very lonely. Because it's you feel like it's shameful. So to realize that there are people out there that are dealing with it, who are struggling, but getting through it is beautiful. And it's not lonely because it's more common than we think. And that's unfortunate that life has gotten us into this predicament, but there is a way out of it.
Yeah.
There's a way through it into freedom.
Yeah.
I'm living
that. The not being alone in that is such a big deal. Like that isolation and that shame and that loneliness and being able to just be, because there's one thing like being part of a community where everyone is like struggling the same way and you're not alone, but it's a totally different thing to be in a community where you're not alone and everyone's getting free.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really different feeling.
It's amazing because it just shows you that it works and there's hope and you don't have to live in that darkness. You don't have to live in that loneliness. There are solutions. So thank you. Thank you.
I'm so just thrilled for you, Sarah. Anything else that is just like, oh, this is what I love about freedom?
Not spending oh my God, I would spend time research before I'd go to restaurants. I'd spend time, depending on what my diet was. If it was on a diet, then I'd be researching what I can eat and what is available to me. And if I wasn't on a diet, I'd be like, oh, what fatty thing am I going to order and eat all of it? And then, so that time back to not have to research food and look up recipes because it fits this lifestyle. I mean, you should see, I have a huge thing of cookbooks right here. And it's interesting because they're like, most of them prescribe to some kind of way of eating. And not saying that there aren't good recipes in there, because there are, but when you're like, these are paleo, and these are Weight Watchers, and these are this, and these are that, it's just ridiculous. I just want to buy cookbooks that are cookbooks because they have good food in them. So that's my new mission.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And Sarah, just to highlight that beautiful value of having time back, like, at the end of our lives, we're not like, oh, I wish I would have made a little bit more money, or I wish I would have worked some more days. Like it's time, like time is the great equalizer and the resource that you're either going to be spending on your eating disorder, or you're going to be spending on your real life and your kids and your joy and your personal development and your bliss. And to get that time back is, you're so right, like one of the most valuable things.
And another thing, I'm not right now, I'm not at my skinniest, but I don't care. I am so content with where my body is at, and that I'm not fighting it. I'm not trying to work against it. And I know we talked about the respect and everything, but I think that's also a part of a mental freeing. You're not sitting there worrying about the number on the scale. I put the scale away, right? Like almost right in the beginning, because I was getting on it daily, multiple times a day sometimes. And like, that's not even accurate, because you just ate, you didn't go to the bathroom, you drank 3 gallons of water, whatever it is. It's like the scale is such a lie. It's and it just is there to damage your brain. Yeah, you need it for some, gotta weigh my kid, or gotta weigh the dog, but it's not necessary to get on every day. It's damaging. So to be free and just to be like happy with where I'm at, tummy and all. I had 2 kids. You know what? I'm allowed to have this tummy.
Yes.
If I gain weight, I gain weight. And if I lose weight, great, but it's not the focus.
Yeah. And Sarah, that strength and that knowing and that confidence is just such a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful thing, because when we stop fighting with ourselves, our whole lives get better. Like when we stop hating ourselves and fighting with ourselves and saying, I can only accept and love you if, like, we don't treat people we love like that.
Not at all. Yeah.
And to be able to treat ourselves with that kindness of like, you know what, like I'm going to really, really enjoy, because the best moments and the memories that we create in our life, like it's not, and I looked good in the picture in that moment. It was, I was there and I was present and I was in my body and I was in the experience. And it wasn't about my shape or my weight. It was about like, am I respecting myself? Am I here and present? Am I making a true memory? Like that. Yeah. More of that.
Yeah. And it's crazy, because whatever my brain was telling me before was, I've always had these things of like, people aren't going to like me. People, for whatever reason, whether it be weight or if I'm not do whatever, people pleasing to the extreme, but I'm getting to this point where I have all these friends. I've been bigger, I've been smaller. They love me no matter what. It's not about how big my butt is. It's like, it's me and how I treat them and how I respect them, and how we get along and how we fit together. And it's not about my size. And it took me this many years to realize, and how unfortunate is that there were so many opportunities I missed or was in my head about, because I was always worried about what are people going to think about my weight right now. No one cares. No one cares about how big you are. They don't care. And if they do, then they're not friends. Then
I was going to say, and if you have people in your life that are like, I will accept you only this weight, it's like, maybe question those relationships.
Exactly. So It's just so nice to be free and not have to walk into a situation and be like, oh, is everyone else is skinnier than me? I don't care, whatever.
So
Like,
awesome. And really celebrating with you. And Sarah, like just hear you say like you never thought that you would be at this point, and you're here. You're here, and that freedom and that space in your life, and letting your health spring back, and knowing that like you're safe within yourself. Like you can trust you. Like that's such a big deal. And I want to say congratulations and celebrating with you. And I thought it would be like fun to sort of wrap it all together with just take a moment, Sarah. And I want you to just think of like, what was maybe the darkest moment or thought or emotion that was like the hardest part of being in that place of bondage and suffering. And then right next to it, I want you to just like be like, what is one of the most like wonderful, amazing pieces of freedom? And just like, as you put those two together, I would love for you to just enjoy that contrast and seeing how far you've come, and then just wrap it up with like, and what would you say to somebody who is struggling and who is wondering if they can ever be free, and what would you say to them? Does that make sense?
yes. Okay. So first, it's actually going to sound funny, but darkness and like actual perspective from when I did few sessions of hypnotherapy, and there was actually some kind of like, I don't know if it was like past life regression or whatever. It was just something where I had this in my head that my darkness, I was in a dungeon and I'm trying to push up the door, and like whatever that disorder was pushing down on me, just telling me to be quiet and keep me locked in like this dungeon. That's what came up during hypnotherapy. So that was scary, and it just felt so real. And it's just, I mean, but that's basically what was going inside my brain. Like I need to escape, but there was something not letting me. Going through this program and finding freedom, it just feels like pushed through that door and like got into the light. Like, you know, it feels like this lightness, this weight is lifted, not physical weight, but just this weight on your shoulders of just always feeling in this place of distrust and anxiety. I don't have that anymore. And that's why this is so beautiful. It feels like a light. It feels bright. It feels happy. Physically feel better, but mentally I'm less anxiety. I feel just in this happy place. And I'm even applying the principles to life stuff outside of food. I'm trying to, so there's so many great things about how you deal with this that I'm applying other places. But what I can tell people, what I can help people is that there's no need to stay in that darkness, because there's a lot of room on the light side with all of us who've been there and who have made it through. So you need to trust yourself. You need to trust your body and trust the process. And you can be here, no problem. It's beautiful. And I started the program, and I think within the first week, it was like instant for me. Something clicked. It was time, something clicked, and it was really learning about the chatter and like learning that thing existed, and that's what was holding me back. And it was just instant, and it's been no issues ever since. So to you all, there's hope, there's light. Join us.
So beautiful. I love it. And Sarah, like, that beautiful image of just being able to bust through like the thing that, was literally keeping you in this dungeon, and to be free of that, and to be in your real life and that happiness. And I love how you talked about like, there's so much awesomeness on the other side. Like there are all of these, there's like, the 1,000 of us who are just like, we're free and we're happy. And like, we've all had that shared experience, but it's like, it's so, so cool to be able to be in that community and just see like, wow, like what life is like on the other side, and to share that with some of the coolest people. So
Yes.
oh, Sarah, congratulations. Anything else on your heart that you want to share to just capture your story in this moment and in sharing this beautiful journey and how far you've come?
I just think that I've said it all. I guess the only thing, I thought it was going to be harder. So I thought it was gonna be a battle. I thought it was gonna be a struggle, and it came so naturally. So there's nothing to be scared of. At first I was kind of fearing, like, what am I going to be without? what am I going to be without this disorder? What am I going to be? What am I going to do? But there are plenty of other things to do and how to spend your life. So just, I thank you. Thank you for creating this program and bringing these principles to so many people who have found freedom, because it is worth it. It is so worth it. So thank you.
So beautiful. I received that. And thank you, Sarah. And it's been a joy celebrating you and the way that your life has unfolded. And I love how you brought up that question of like, who will I be without this, right? That's a common way to feel. But we have never once, with the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that we have freed from this, we've never once had somebody be like, oh, I don't like who I am on the side of freedom. Like I should go back. I was cooler when I was in bondage all the time. I was just like,
nope.
No. It's like, everybody's like, oh yeah, you just like, you're you on the other side, but more free with a lot more like time and energy and abundance and happiness. It's like, oh, I liked being unhappy more. No, being happy, actually, it's better.
No, I choose freedom. Thanks.
Oh, I love it. Again, congratulations, Sarah. Just so thrilled for you. So excited to see how this continues to unfold. Like you said, there's so many areas of life that you're applying these principles to, which is just so cool. It's like, it's one thing that we say is once you're free from one cage, you can get free from any other cage, because you know exactly how to do that with food. So now it's like, okay, what about all of these other things in life? Because now you're a master of your own self, your own brain, your own patterns. And that makes for a really good life. And we're just so thrilled for you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, love it, love it, love it. All right, you guys. So it's been so fun celebrating Sarah, and just so thrilled to see another one of these incredible human beings just step into their light, as Sarah so beautifully described that. And the next step, if you're listening to this and you're just like, okay, like I would like to be free, it really comes down to that. It was like, if you want to be free, cool. If not, then high five, you can hang out. But if you want to be free, the next step for your freedom is to be able to have a face-to-face conversation, get the foundation of freedom. It's a free session. Our coaches are here to help you to know what the next step is for you, just the right plan for you, and to really get clarity about what's happening, so we know how to best get you to the other side of this. And what you choose is totally up to you. But the next step for your freedom is that we need to have that great foundation of freedom, and that's with a free breakthrough session. So thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing your incredible hope and light. It's such a fun thing. And this is Sarah and Coach Lydia Knight signing off.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and after helping hundreds of people move from food prison to food freedom using only their brains, I am confident that anyone can be free who wants. If you would like a free session with our team, you can go to lydialifestyle.com. Would love to see you there.